Call the meeting order for the Grimes City Council, April 14th, 2026. Meeting to order. I'll spit it out. Roll call, please.
Stand for the pledge.
We're going to do the.
Well,
There's two separate meetings tonight. The first one is on the property tax levy. It's got to be a totally separate thing pursuant to Iowa code.
yeah.
So we'll start with that, and then we'll move into the regular business meeting.
Yeah, I was going to explain that after the roll call. Sorry. But yes, roll call.
DePhillips.
Here.
Earlbeck. Johansson.
Here.
Lovelady.
Here.
Forkerding.
Here. All right, thank you. Yeah, and as Mr. Anderson expressed, this is a special meeting here. It'll be really short. It's just to dot our I's, cross our T's according to code. And then we'll follow this up immediately with the regular business meeting. So can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move it.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Forkerding.
Aye.
Johansson.
Aye.
Lovelady.
Aye.
DePhillips.
Aye.
All right, and that passes. So that brings us to the public hearing on proposed property tax levy for the fiscal year 26-27. Before we have the public hearing, Marcia is going to give us some background.
Evening. So as Jake stated, the public hearing is required by the state prior to allowing the city to even set our public hearing for our budget. And this is the only item that's on this agenda, and there is no action, just whatever you hear. The notice for this public hearing was sent out to all property owners from either Polk or Dallas County, wherever you reside, along with the public hearing information for the school and the county back in March. For state requirements, the city published the public hearing notice on April 6th in the Register and posted it on our website and social media pages. Following the council's direction, staff prepared the budget maintaining the proposed tax rate at the current fiscal year 26 levy of 10.6992 per thousand of taxable value. This provides a projected increase of approximately $339,000 more into the general fund, which will help cover a small portion of the additional public safety costs of $1,473,000 for fiscal year 27. The budget does include the proposed 3% franchise fees, which help cover some of the remaining additional public safety expenses. We're setting the April 28th as the public hearing date for the 27 budget at the regular meeting right after this.
And then, Mr. Anderson, is it correct? We do have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, so we're just holding a hearing, we're taking no action, and this is specific to the component of the budget related to the property tax rate.
Okay, so at this time, I will open the public hearing on this specific topic. Would anybody like to address council on this topic? Is there any written communication?
No.
Okay, seeing no one here. I will close the public hearing. And that brings us to the end of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Forkerding.
Aye.
Lovelady.
Aye.
Johansson.
Aye.
DePhillips.
Aye.
All right, and that meeting is adjourned. Thank you for that. And that'll bring us to the regular council meeting. So we'll call to order the regular council meeting of April 14th, 2026. We'll call that to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And by the way, I do appreciate everybody's sense of patrioticness and being on top of that previously. So roll call, please.
DePhillips.
Here.
Forkerding.
Here.
Johansson.
Here.
Earlbeck. Lovelady.
Here.
Okay. The motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move it. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I hear none. Roll call, please.
Forkerding.
Aye.
Lovelady.
Aye.
Johansson.
Aye.
DePhillips.
Aye.
Okay, and that passes. The agenda is approved. That brings us on to public forum. So before we start with public forum, well, I guess first, do you have anybody signed up?
We have one person.
Okay, so before we start, just want to state this again. This is fairly new. We passed some rules in January about public forum and having a visual timer for the 3 minutes, et cetera. And so we figured out the IT for that and have that rolling, and that started in the last meeting. But if you're speaking, that's something new. I'm just calling your attention to that. That was something that was passed in our preceding rules back in January. So, and now we have it all in order. So anyhow, with that, who do we have?
Joe Herman.
Joe Herman. Please step up, Joe.
Thurman, 308 Northwest 8th Street. I'm actually here just to read a statement to address Councilmember Lord Phillips, the actions of the last council. I'm here to address a statement made to me from Councilmember Phillips. At the conclusion of the last council meeting, I tried to talk to Ms. Phillips. As I tried to show her a quote from her, she stated that I needed to stop yelling at her. This was in this room with everybody here. I told her I never said one thing or yelled to you. She then said, "Get away from me. You're making me feel uncomfortable." Well, this was said off the record. It was in the presence of witnesses, and statements like this carry serious implications for anyone's character or reputation. As a man, I'm particularly aware of how such claims, whether public or informal, can be misinterpreted, having lasting personal and professional consequences. I categorically deny engaging in any intimidating or harassing behavior with Mr. Phillips. My conduct with her has always remained within the bounds of public interaction. This is not about a disagreement. It's about how my actions have been described, how my character has been questioned. When statements suggest misconduct about clear, specific facts, they risk creating a false impression, regardless of whether they are on or off the record again. I take my reputation seriously, and I take seriously the responsibility to speak accurately, especially in a setting connected with public service. I do not accept statements that mischaracterize my conduct in a way that could reasonably be misunderstood and defamatory. If there's a specific concern about something I said or did, talk to me. It should be clearly identified and addressed directly. Vague and subjective claims are not sufficient when they carry implications like this. I stand by my conduct. I participate in good faith, follow the rules, and exercise my right to speak at these with matters before this council. I'm asking for accuracy and fairness. If a statement has been made that does not reflect what actually occurred, it should be clarified so that no misunderstanding about my actions. I'll continue to engage respectfully and appropriately as I always have. I expect that any statements about my conduct, whether made publicly or privately, are truthful, specific, and corrected. Let me be clear, I will not allow my character to be misrepresented, and I expect Councilwoman Phillips to take responsibility for the accuracy of her claims. If you don't have an answer, you don't tell somebody, you're making me feel uncomfortable, especially in today's day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Is anybody else signed up?
No, sir.
Yeah, for the good of, this is not directed at anybody personally, but I just feel a duty to say out loud. When you talk about interpretations between people, intent matters. And intent can be misconstrued sometimes, but also feelings matter, whether you agree with the feelings that somebody feels. Those feelings can be legitimate, even if you don't agree with those feelings and the interpretation that stoked those feelings. I think that's important to say out loud. I'm not saying anybody is correct or wrong. I'm just saying how people feel matter, whether accurate or not. And also just add to my knowledge, I do not believe there's any formal business city record about what was just stated to my knowledge. So there's nothing for us to correct or say on the matter because there was nothing that was stated in the first place in a formal setting. Just wanted to make that clear. Whatever was said on social media or outside or whatever, I don't know. So, Just wanted to say that for the good of the order. So thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Approved.
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Porkerdy?
Aye.
Johansson?
Aye.
DePhillips?
Aye.
Lovelady?
Aye.
All right, thank you. That passes. And that brings us to our proposed action items. Item 1, Resolution 04-2926 to dispose of an easement interest on public property and heritage at Grimes Plot 2 in the city of Grimes and convey said easement to adjoining property. We'll have a public hearing on this, but before that, Alex is going to give us some background.
If you recall, there was a site plan and preliminary plat approved late last year for a new daycare facility located the intersection of North James and Northeast Beaverbrook Boulevard. During that site plan review process, it was identified the stormwater management that the city owns. So for those who aren't family developed heritage, they constructed a number of regional detention basins to benefit the overall development. So that way there aren't private individual detention basins throughout the development. So specifically in this case, in between Heritage Elementary and the subject site, there is a greenway with a regional detention basin. The basin exists for the benefit of this property. They do still need to convey their stormwater to said basin. And in this case, kind of you can see in the aerial, there is a flared end section that discharges their stormwater into the basin. In order for the property owner to maintain that, they do need on the city's properties. Discussing tonight is a very small easement, basically just to contain the flared end section for private storm sewer. So that's one of the easement purposes. By 7 feet. By law, the state code, anytime the city is disposing of an interest, whether or not that's physically selling property or it's an easement, the city did the compensation estimate. Acquired some greenway the past couple of years, so we've used appraisals from it. On a per square foot basis, reducing it to address the the permanent nature of the easement. Essentially, the compensation is like $10. They have paid the city the $10 for the easement. But yeah, that's all I have for background on that. As Mr. Mayor said, we do have to hold a public hearing. That entertain approval of the resolution.
All right, thank you for that background, Alex. At this time, we'll hold a public hearing on Resolution 04-2926. Anybody wish to speak on this specific topic? All right, thank you. We'll close the public hearing. Is there any action on this? Or any comments?
No comments. I'll move resolution 04-2926.
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Porkerdy?
Aye.
Johansson?
Aye.
Lovelady?
Aye.
DePhillips?
Aye.
All right, and that passes. That brings us to item 2, resolution 04-3026, approving final plot of heritage at Grimes, plot 8, and certain related easements and agreements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the same subject site. Where the daycare is under construction, zoned R4 within the Heritage PUD. It's 5.12 acres. The final plot is 2 commercial development lots. That northern lot is where the daycare is under construction. The southern lot is reserved for future commercial development. This plat identifies and establishes all the necessary city improvement easements for the future widening of Northeast 18th Street to correct some alignment issues. We have water main easement needs along North James Street, and then there are public ingress egress easements through the development connecting from Northeast 18th down to Northeast Beaverbrook Boulevard, and then all of the necessary private sanitary sewer and storm sewer easements. And this is just a reminder what the improvements are within the plat today. Everything in gray is that private driveway with that ingress egress easement, the daycare, and their associated recreation facilities, and then the storm sewer that we discussed at the previous action item. Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this at a prior meeting, recommended approval, as with staff. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Or action?
Pretty straightforward. I don't have any questions. Anybody else? Otherwise, I will move resolution 04-3026 for approval.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Johansson.
Aye.
Lovelady.
Aye.
Borkerding.
Aye.
DePhillips.
Aye.
All right, and that motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to item 3, the second consideration of ordinance 811, amending Grimes Code of Ordinances regarding the amount charged under section 9-15-6 subsection 1 for the collection of recyclable materials and section 9-13-9 subsection 1 for collection of solid waste. Marcia.
You can. Just to walk back through what we talked about last time, as in prior years, Metro Waste will increase the cost to the city for recycling and solid waste fees beginning in July. In prior years, the city funded a portion of each household solid waste services from the general fund and subsidized the proprietary fund. For fiscal year 27 budget, we have incorporated the full cost for the services into the rates. Solid waste fees will increase $1.32 per cart, cost of $12.37 per month for each cart at a residence. Recycling fees will increase 49 cents per cart and cost $5.13 per month per cart. So the combined monthly increase for year 27 will be $1.81 per address. And then this allows the proprietary fund to become self-sustaining as our other proprietary funds operate.
Council, any questions or action on this item?
I think we covered it pretty well the first time around. If no other questions or comments, I would move the second consideration of ordinance 811.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Johansson.
Aye.
Borkerding.
Aye.
DePhillips.
Aye.
Lovelady.
Aye.
All right, that passes. That brings us to item 4. Resolution 04-3126, authorizing and approving a loan agreement providing for the sale and insurance of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2026A, and providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same. Marcia.
So today the city took bids at 10 a.m. for the purchase of our $14,690,000 general obligation bonds. We received 5 bids from 31 different banks. The true interest cost received ranged from 3.4489 to 3.5855%. There was only a 0.017% difference between the winning bidder and the second place. The winning bidder was Hilltop Securities out of Dallas, Texas. The purchase price was $15,599,836.40. The true interest cost of 3.4489%. The estimated had been 4.68322, so we did do really well. The net interest cost will be $4,591,853.62. For reference, the past 2 bond issuances in 2025, we priced in April of last year. The TIC was 4.17, and in 2024, in April of 24, the TIC was 3.74. So Moody's did affirm the city's AA2 rating. They are non-qualified bank bonds maturing over 15 years. And we priced just 29 basis points over the BVAL AAA pricing scale, which is excellent pricing, really. PFM did recommend that we take the bid from Hilltop Securities at the true interest cost of 3.4489.
Thank you, Marcia. And Marcia or Jake or Alex, it might be nice and helpful if you can give just really high level of some of the things like this would be going for. Any of you feel free to.
So these bonds will finance a portion of the city admin building. They will also finance another portion of 37th Street. We've got the sidewalk ADA plan coming online. We've got HMA overlay. We've got some fiber upgrades. We've got some other street projects.
James Street.
That's a big chunk of it too. Then park, and then some trail improvements too that we do each year. I think those are the main, right? Yep, I think those.
Yeah, so a lot of infrastructure, some parks and trails. So yeah, just trying to continue to do business with all those things. And also, I believe, did we not have something about our credit earlier? And we're having good credit, and this is helping get us good competitive bids on this.
Yes, correct, right. Our credit rating remains the same, but we are doing very well in actually being that close to AAA pricing.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that because, you know, as the city does business good in terms of our finances, we get better ratings. Better ratings give us better percentages on these things, and that's all benefit to the taxpayer. So I just want to call that out and thank staff for the good work with our finances and continuing to do good with that. So, all right, that's enough pontificating. Council.
No one else wants to pontificate. I will move resolution 04-3126 for approval.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Johansson.
Aye.
Borkerty.
Aye.
Lovelady.
Aye.
DePhillips.
Aye.
All right, and that passes. Thank you, Marcia. That brings us to item 5, resolution 04-3226, adopting revenue purpose statement regarding the use of revenues from proposed gas and electric franchise fee ordinances pursuant to Iowa Code sections 364.2 subsection 4 and 384.3A.
Yeah, just a little bit of background, Mr. Mayor, the process for this, we talked about it, last time during the discussion item on the agenda. Step 1, adopt a revenue purpose statement. What is the proposed use for these fees? Step 2, set a date and time for public hearing on a proposed ordinance. That's the next agenda item. And you hold the hearing and take up consideration of the ordinance at the next meeting, subsequent readings before adoption. So pursuant to our discussions in the budget workshops and at the last meeting, the proposed revenue statement is drafted in a manner such that the only permitted use for franchise fee revenue will be to fund public safety.
And I'll just call out and note that the resolution, if one were to vote in approval of it, is an agreement of the revenue statement, not necessarily to follow through with the franchise fee themselves.
Correct.
So it's just to approve the statement itself and its intent, if it was to be approved.
You teed that up nicely, Mr. Mayor. While I'm not supportive of the franchise fee overall, and I won't vote to support it when it comes on an agenda, I am perfectly comfortable supporting the revenue purpose statement and the public hearing that we'll have later on. So if there are no other comments, take it away.
Move resolution 04-3226, adopting revenue purpose statement.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Borkerty.
Aye.
Lovelady.
Aye.
DePhillips.
Aye.
Johansson.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you. That brings us to item 6, resolution 04-3326, setting time and place for public hearing on proposed ordinance to provide for a 3% utility franchise fee on natural gas and electric services. Jake.
Yep, so this resolution sets the date and time for the public hearing on the proposed ordinance for the next council meeting. Will be on the 20th of this month. It will be published at 5:30, the regular council meeting. proposed resolution.
Okay, so just officially setting the public hearing for that franchise fee. Any comments or discussion?
I'll go ahead and move resolution 04-3326, setting date and time place for public hearing.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call.
Borkerty?
Aye.
Lovelady?
Aye.
Johansson?
Aye.
DePhillips?
Aye.
All right, this brings us to item 7, which is a closed session. So I will now entertain a motion to enter into closed session under Chapter 21.5, Section 1J of the Code of Iowa to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the government body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price the government body would receive for that property. The minutes and the audio recording of the session closed under this paragraph shall be available for public examination when the transaction discussed is completed. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session?
I move we go into closed session.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Borkerty?
Aye.
Johansson?
Aye.
Lovelady?
Aye.
DePhillips?
Aye.
All right, that passes. So at this time, all members of the public and all staff not part of the closed session will leave the room at this time. Once the closed session is complete, the public will be invited back into the room. All right, council has risen from closed session, and there was no proposed action as a result of that closed session, so we will move on with the agenda, which brings us on to discussion items, staff reports.
Mr. Mayor, I have no report.
Ooh, that's nice. All right,
I'll take it.
that brings us to mayor and city council reports. Reports?
I have no report.
Central Waterworks is going well. It's likely we will enter into the lawn watering season here. So water responsibly. Thank you for the rain.
And I'll just say, Mr. Johansson, I've heard good things about your involvement with that, and I appreciate your
I don't know.
abilities and magical powers.
I don't know who's spreading those rumors, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, no, I genuinely mean that. So, all right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move. Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we adjourn. Thank you.
Uh-oh.